speeding isn't just a bad habit, it's a serious safety risk. New LendingTree research shows that Bakersfield ranks number 7 nationwide for speeding-related incidents, with excessive speed playing a role in more than 1 in 4 fatal crashes locally. Now, the findings also highlight sharp differences by age group and vehicle brand, raising important questions about driver behavior and road safety in our community. So let's get down to it. Joining us this morning is Rob Bott, LendingTree, author, insurance expert. And by the way, Rob, thanks for coming on this morning. You're coming in from what city now?
I'm based in Seattle.
Okay. So I'm just curious from you, what is the speed limit like in Seattle? Where do you guys sit?
You know, in the city of Seattle, the city has implemented this policy of trying to slow down cars, and so we've actually seen our speed limits come down in the last 10 years.
Well, that's
you know, we have a crowded city. We've had high rates, alarming rates of pedestrian fatalities, and so the city has taken these steps to lower the rates. That's just within the city itself, not necessarily the highways.
Well, yeah. So here in Bakersfield, so I wanted to give some some updates. So we are 55-mile-per-hour speed limit here in the city. 2-lane undivided roads, though, you can get up to 65 miles per hour on the outsides of the city. To me, that's pretty fast, because I grew up in Phoenix, and it's like 35, 45 is what it looks like. So that ranks us, though, 7th now nationwide for speeding-related incidents. Do you think that's a factor?
You know, it could be. When people get used to driving fast at high rates of speed, sometimes maybe you just lose track of where you are and what the speed limit is, and you just kind of get used to going at a certain speed, and that you can get in trouble if you're not paying attention to a speed limit in a certain area. And of course, getting pulled over speeding and getting a ticket, that creates some financial problems that you're gonna have to deal with afterwards. Yes. Not to mention the safety risk.
Oh yeah, I mean, the typical ticket people tend to get, and I'm guilty. I got that once, or maybe twice. How fast are you going, officer? Or you get pulled over for your speed. Do you know what the typical average speed is in these accidents?
Don't know the typical average speed in these accidents, but just in general, we know speed is a leading factor in traffic accidents. In most traffic accidents, you have speed, impairment, distraction. Sometimes, or oftentimes, it's a combination of those things. But generally, if you're talking about a fatal traffic accident, you're usually talking about a high speed, north of 60 miles per hour, really, because obviously, yeah, when you get in the faster you're going, the more severe the accident is going to be.
And you know as well as I do that means with our average speed limit being 55 miles per hour, most people think, well, I can go at least 10 miles per hour over. So you're already getting to that 60 mile per hour speed limit problem. I was looking at your research. Data shows that Gen Z drivers have the highest speeding rates nationally. What do you think is the factor for that contributes to that trend?
Traditionally, young drivers have been the riskiest drivers, and that goes back, when today's boomers were at this young age group. They were probably driving fast too. I don't know. I wasn't here, but we do know that younger drivers they tend to be riskier drivers. Unfortunately, they tend to have higher crash rates. So it's not necessarily surprising to see that Gen Z has the highest rates of speeding. I think the more surprising thing is just how big the difference is between Gen Z and millennials in terms of the first and second highest rates, where Gen Zs have speeding incidents at about twice the rate as millennials do, and Gen X is kind of close to millennials as well.
Well, that's interesting. I'm a Gen Xer. Millennials are doing much better. Well, because I guess millennials would be next. They're still a little bit older, more wisdom. So yeah, Gen Z is the younger crowd. I'm going to put you as a millennial. Is that right?
I'm Gen X. I'm Gen X. I'm proud Gen X.
So okay, I'm proud. So am I. Do you think vehicle technology is an issue? Like the more high tech or low tech?
That's a very good question. Certainly, some of the high tech cars have the capability to go fast, and you drive in some of these vehicles where you don't realize you're going as fast as you are. Infinities by vehicle make, Infinitis have the highest rate, and then Teslas are number two. Certainly anyone who's driven a Tesla can attest to how quickly they can speed up. And
yeah, and it's so quiet. You don't know you're going that fast.
Yeah, and I think Infiniti has some of those features too, particularly the higher end, the higher end versions of it. So that is a factor. I mean, it's a combination of what you drive and how you drive it.
Well, it's kind of like a generic question, but I mean, what would you tell our drivers here in Bakersfield? Obviously, you could say, hey, slow down. But, sometimes when an adult tells you something, you don't necessarily listen until you have that experience. But what would you say?
I guess I come at it from the insurance point of view. I mean, in California, if you get a speeding ticket, like California is the state where speeding tickets have the highest impact on your insurance rate. I think the average cost of insurance goes up by about 40% after a speeding ticket in California.
Yeah.
In other states, it's like 20 to 25%. So, there's all the safety messages you could make, and you could appeal to someone's logic. But then when you appeal to their wallet and talk about the financial cost of speeding, that is something that really gets people to change their behavior oftentimes.
I think you're right. I mean, I think it's a great statement, the insurance. And that's the thing. I don't think people know or realize that their insurance rates will go up once you get that speeding ticket. Let me ask you, how can awareness campaigns or educational campaigns make a real difference in changing drivers' behaviors? Like this conversation here, like you just raised my awareness about the insurance rates. How often do you guys do this kind of stuff?
This is a big part of what we do. LendingTree is a financial marketplace. We provide a lot of tools and research that helps people make educated decisions on financial products. And of course, insurance is a big part of that. In speeding, we have a lot of people who are shopping for insurance after they've received a speeding ticket.
Yeah.
And, this is a question that people have. So we're regularly researching this information and sharing with people. And one of the things we like to do is get this information out before people get the speeding tickets, so they could protect themselves financially and have a little more money in their pocket for things they want to spend their money on.
And I want to, I'm going to put you on the spot on this one. Like, I have at least had 2 speeding tickets my whole life, but I want to make sure that our audience knows that, hey, this is a guy I can trust. Rob knows what he's talking about. Have you ever had a speeding ticket?
I've had a few, yes. Some of them have been like kind of innocent, where, I've been on an Eastern Washington highway going on a road trip, driving on a beautiful day, clear road, and I was just enjoying the view and not unbeknownst to me, I was going 72 and the speed limit was 60. And of course, I grew up in California, so 72, that's like you're in the slow lane going that speed. So
no doubt.
I learned to pay attention to the speed limit signs after that. I lost an insurance discount, and so my rate, I lost the best rate for a while, but I've been ticket free since then, and that was more than 5 years ago. So
and there you go.
Feeling pretty good about that.
See, this is why we trust Rob, because he can relate to all of us if you've ever had a speeding ticket, and drive safe, especially in the fog that we have right now. Rob Bott, LendingTree, thank you so much for coming on this morning and talk with us.
The pleasure is mine. Enjoy the day and drive safely.
Hi, I'm Rochelle Murcia with Eyewitness News Bakersfield Now on YouTube. Thank you for checking out our YouTube channel, where we have tons of great content to choose from. While you're here, go ahead and click on the subscribe button right there. That way you can stay up to date on all the things related within Kern County. Thanks for watching.